Boys, bulking nutrition vid. I said I was going to do it. Maddie, this one's for you. It was always going to be the next vid, so let's talk about it. In the description, you'll be able to see the meal plan, so if you just want to skip straight ahead and see exactly what the meal plan is, go ahead and look at the description. Otherwise, we're going to get into this. So for breakfast, boys, we're looking at 2 eggs. That's 2 whole eggs. That includes the yolk. We're then going to have 4 egg whites, 6 weetbix, and 1 banana. For meal 2, we're looking at 200 grams of red meat, 200 grams of broccoli, and then 20 almonds. Meal 3, we're looking at 3 almonds, and then 30 grams of WPC, so that's a protein shake. Meal 4, we're looking at 300 grams of meat again, so red meat, 100 grams of rice. Meal 5 is essentially what you're having before and after training, which is just 300 grams of WPC, so another protein shake before training, and a protein shake after, so 30 grams of WPC before and 30 grams of WPC after. Meal 6, we're looking at 200 grams of chicken and 100 grams of rice. And for meal 7, we're looking at 200 grams of salmon, or some type of fish, 200 grams of veggies, and the final meal of the day, you're looking at 2 whole eggs and then 6 egg whites. So when I was bulking, that is exactly what I went through. I initially received this, and just so you know, I got this from a bodybuilder and went through it with a dietitian. This particular plan, when I initially received it, I said, F that, because there was no way in hell that I thought that I'd be able to eat this much.
Joel, you want to know something? What? Every now and then, say what the fuck. What the fuck gives you freedom? Freedom brings opportunity. Opportunity makes your future.
One of the things that you are going to need to get used to, that you probably, after seeing this, is that I'm always talking about measurements. So you are at some point going to have to purchase one of these. It's a weigh scale. You're going to have to get used to weighing your food. I started weighing my food, and that's, you start to really see the results, whether it be from bulking or when you're looking to lean down. Changing up the nutrition and changing up how much you're eating really will make a difference. So boys, just so you know, this particular meal plan, the entire thing together, our splits are going to look like this. You're going to be looking at 40% protein, 38% carbs, and 22% fat, around about that. Calorie-wise, when you add in, what you're cooking with and things like that, you're looking at around about 4,200 calories per day. It is going to be hard to eat that much, and your body is going to take a bit of getting used to. Couple of things if you do decide to get into a bulking plan like this. Don't be afraid. There are some things that are going to happen with your body that are going to be plain weird, but it is okay. One of them is that when you start eating this much and you're having this much protein and your body is not used to it, you are probably going to shit yourself. I know that sounds weird and it's probably not something that most people want to talk about, but I want you to know it in case you start going into this and thinking that you are probably up. You are not. It is okay. I flew down to Rockhampton when my brother was living there, and I met with a dietitian, and I actually said to her, hey, this is a meal plan that was recommended to me and I've just started doing this. And she turned to me straight away, and the first thing she said is, oh, have you been shitting yourself? It was weird because usually, especially when you're speaking to a female for the first time, you really don't discuss your bowel movements, but that is what we discussed. So I found out that it is normal, all right? When you start this, you are probably going to shit yourself, but your body will get over it. So what I like to do, guys, is in regards to this particular meal plan, I'll usually write it out or I'll type it out. And just to make sure that I get through absolutely everything in the day, I'll actually get a magnet and I'll put it against the fridge. And then pretty much for every single day when I roll through, at the end of the day, I'll go through that list just to make sure that I have actually got through everything and to make sure that I'm hitting the calories that I need to be hitting. The other thing about this meal plan that you need to know is that there's different ways, obviously, that you can cook your food. And these are some of the tips that you're going to need to know. So in regards to the chicken, myself, I know we talk about beef and we talk about chicken and we talk about tuna. Those are things I've talked about in the past. And generally, those are the meats that I stick to. Some people talk about salmon and stuff like that. If you can eat salmon, man, I'm happy for you. It's a great meal, especially what do we got here on our 7th meal? Eat your salmon.
I eat a fish.
I understand you eat the fish. But when you clean the fish, you can't just leave the fish head and guts and shit in the sink because the whole house smells like a bait station. So you gotta put it in the trash and then take the trash out. Do you understand?
Yes, I eat the fish.
Motherfuck!
Salmon, I can't do it. I hate salmon. I hate all type of fish. As you know, tuna is the only thing that I can have without vomiting. But, so your chicken, I'm pretty much looking at just getting breast. I don't know if you can see that.
When it's cold, mama call it winter. Swisher full of nuggets, daddy call it dinner.
This entire bag is just filled with meat. And that's what you're going to have to get used to. It's not, you know, some people say, is it really expensive, man? Look, of course, it's going to be more expensive than what you're used to because you're eating you're eating probably double to triple what you're eating. So yes, but in the greater scheme of things, man, you know, I mean, it depends. Are you eating out a lot? If you're eating out a lot, man, then switching to something like this, trust me, it's not going to be that much more expensive. So as far as chicken is concerned, I usually get, you know, your breast fillet. I'll chop that up, I'll dice it up, man. I'll use something like this, just as an example for you. You know, you pretty much find any type of sauce that you can find. I usually go to the Asian section. I'll just grab whichever sauce and I'll change it up every couple of weeks so I don't get sick of eating the same shit on repeat. And you mix it in, you know. Every Sunday is pretty much a meal prep day for me. So every Sunday I refer to as Sunday is mum day. I go and visit my mum. Every Sunday we sit there and we do meal prep. She likes to help me, she'll cook it up, etc. Beef wise, man, so we talk about beef. This is the beef, man, it is leaking blood. I don't know if you can see that, but beef strips. I choose beef strips. There's two things, man, when you're cooking in bulk, you know, and you want to find the easiest thing to eat, essentially. For me, when it comes to beef, it's either going to be beef strips, because it's easy, or it's going to be mince. Mince is actually a lot easier. So for those of you who really don't like cooking, I am one of those people. Beef strips, easy to fry up, or basically get some mince. And when we talk about in this particular meal plan, every time I'm mentioning beef or I'm mentioning red meat, you could possibly do that. For those people who are in Australia, when I mention red meat, if you have the ability to be able to eat kangaroo, do that, because it's probably the best meat that you're going to get. Very, very low in fat, very lean meat, and very high in protein. So if you can get your hands on kangaroo, I know that you can if you're in Australia, and if you can stomach it, because I really dislike it. I just do not like the taste of kangaroo, so for me it's beef. When I'm cooking that beef, just so you're aware, beef, alright, this particular mix is what I mix in with my beef strips, man. My sister-in-law gave me this tip. It is the easiest thing to cook. As I've mentioned, I cannot cook. So when it comes to cooking something, and if it's going to be easy, man, this is it. So for those of you who can, just grab that. You put your beef into a pan with some oil, and then you chuck this shit over the top. You know, give it about 5 minutes and you're good to go. What you want to be doing, man, is when you're preparing your meal preps, as I mentioned, Sundays are my prep days, so I'll basically cook a shit ton of food, put it together and put it in the fridge, and then prepare meals for the entire week. One of the things that you want to do is you want to get used to it. You want to make sure, and this is really important, because everybody that's out there can head into the gym, and I've said this before, everybody out there can lift steel. It's not hard. Anybody can walk into a gym and lift some weights. The toughest part is sticking to the diet. And I'm telling you right now, for the first couple of years when I was training, you know, I was lifting heavy ass weight. That's all I was doing, just lifting weight, lifting weight, lifting weight. And it was probably the third or fourth year or so when I decided, you know what, I'm going to get into nutrition and follow it and be strict with it. And I wasn't eating anything else except what is on this list. And I did that for 12 weeks. That was the biggest transformation. And I guarantee you, for the guys who are out there who haven't done something like this before, so guys who are out there who are, you know, you've been training for a while, you're eating shit, you know, you might have followed one meal plan or something that you found on the internet and then you threw it away and you stopped because you weren't feeling the results. Do something like this for 12 weeks, stick to it. And when you see the results, that's what will make you kind of go, you know what, I am forever going to start following diet plans and sticking to it and being strict, because you'll see the results and you'll want more. So on a recap, boys, what have we talked about here? You're looking at 8 meals, and for those 8 meals, you're probably going to be looking at having them around about, let's say, 2 to 2.5 hours apart. You know, generally that'll change a little bit with where you're training, but the general gist is that every 2 to 2.5 hours you are going to be eating something. So for your training protocols, I'm not going to talk too much about that one because we've already discussed it in another video. So before training, 30 grams of protein. After training, 30 grams of protein. And during training, you're looking at a mix of your creatine monohydrate, BCAAs, and beta-alanine mixed with some Gatorade. So those are the training protocols that we're looking at. So this is exactly what I did, which worked for me. As I mentioned, first time I did this, I did absolutely no cardio. The best results I've ever got whilst on a bulk nutrition like this was with cardio. So for those of you who are out there, if you don't want to put on, large amounts of fat and you don't want to be holding a lot of water, then by all means, trust me, continue to do the cardio that you're doing whilst you're on a meal plan like this. But there are some other guys who are out there who I know are very similar to myself. You find it extremely hard to put on weight, and it's quite difficult. And for me, that's why I decided I didn't want to do any cardio. I really just wanted to put on as much weight as I possibly could. So for those of you who are like that, then you might want to try, maybe not doing any cardio to begin with, just to see, hey, look, I'm actually capable of putting on this weight. That's awesome. But for the others who are out there, man, keep that cardio up. That's about all I got on this one, guys. I mean, if you've got any questions or anything like that, by all means, flick them through in the comment section on the Facebook page as per usual. I know there's some guys who have been flicking through some questions. More than happy to help. This particular bulking nutrition plan is something that I will pretty much do probably once every year. I go through a 12-week cycle, man, and I'll definitely be hitting up the same type of nutritional plan. The other thing we're going to be talking about in the next training vids that come up, we're going to start talking about the type of training that you need to be doing, so the type of sessions that I actually run with a bulking nutrition plan. For me, it's always a modified German volume training, so that's 10 sets, 5 reps, 4 OXO, all that kind of stuff, which I've mentioned in a lot of the comments and spoken to a lot of the guys about. But we'll actually start going through those sessions and what you're supposed to be doing with a bulking plan like this to obviously maximize the amount of muscle that you can put on during this type of meal plan. I hope all's well. As always, boys, take care of yourselves. Hope your training's going well. Good luck, and for those of you who do even decide to try something like this, when you're shitting yourself for the first time and you are feeling extremely ill, just remember, I told you so. Food confession. I went over to my friend's house and we were hitting a KFC competition once. So this is back in the day when I knew nothing, probably like first or second year. And I thought to me bulking back then was eating absolutely everything you could get your hands on. The challenge was, I think we had like a 20-piece bucket from KFC and you had to have as many pieces as you possibly could. I ate 12 pieces. I went home. I vomited, but I didn't want to lose my gains. So I ate